Calling this meeting to order at 9 o'clock. If you'd all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call. Linda Slipsema, excused. Wendy Hoeksema, present. Jill Kester, present. Randy Milnick,
Present.
Tim Ahrens.
Here.
We have a quorum. Moving on to the agenda. Does anybody want?
I'll make a motion to have Wendy Hoeksema run the meeting.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Does anybody like to change the agenda?
We have a few things to add. Okay, one is to add a planning commission appointment under new business. And a motion to approve the sale of 2004 Kubota RTV 900 under new business. And then I think the right place for this is probably new business because I'm going to ask for a motion, but consideration of a motion to relocate the recycle bins from the township hall parking lot. That's all I have.
What section? Oh, you said new business?
Yep, those are all under new business.
What about the accepting a resignation?
That's is with the PC appointment, yeah.
Okay.
Accept resignation, appoint someone else.
Okay.
Yeah, they can all be one motion, I think. Is that how it? I didn't.
Now it's two.
I didn't look at her memo. Oh, in the same memo. Okay. Okay, I see.
But just one addition to the agenda.
It could be two, right?
Yeah.
It could be two.
I would.
Okay,
See.
so we can go back and see it. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Melnick. Second. Aaron's.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Do we have any declaration of conflict of interest of anything on the agenda today?
No.
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 No for me. So public comment. Any person permitted to address the meeting of the Township Board today can do so from the lectern. And it does not look like we have anybody in attendance today. So we're going to move on to a public hearing, which is none, and then move on to reports. Chief Morgan.
You're somebody, Deb.
You're just an employee.
Yeah. Yeah, so I have kind of updated how I'm doing my board report for this year. I'm going to include an executive summary now, just so that way, if you don't want to have to read the rest of it, you have just that quick summary there at the beginning. Call volume was remarkably down in January, but looking back over the last 5 years of trends, January has always been our slowest month. So with how trends are going based on the last 5 years versus this January, the call volume pretty much tracks for January. So that's going to help with planning for the future years. Not in the packet, I got an update from CSI yesterday. The pump module came back from paint. That's installed. So the process to get the truck from where it's at now to delivery is going to be much quicker. The pump's in. They just have to run all the plumbing, electrical, and stuff like that. So getting weekly status updates from them. So and working to try to get it closed out by the end of March, but it's probably not going to happen. But we're pushing along. Get this back open here. We did a large training with the casino at the beginning of February. We had over 30, let me just take the numbers here. It was 40 people, 7 departments, 3 counties represented. We did a large mid-rise training where we practiced stretching in the hallways, up the stairwells. We did incident command in the control room, and we gave these surrounding departments a tour of the casino because these are who are going to be first due. This came at the recommendation of the general manager of the casino. It was his idea to do this, and offered up the top 2 floors of the hotel. They didn't book anybody in those floors. They left them open for us for a night of training. So I want to give a public shout out to the tribe for that, because it's just a partnership that we're looking for. And it was training that was very well received across the county. So we had members from City Fire, Grand Traverse Metro, Elk Rapids, Clearwater, Kalkaska, one from Cedar, one from Torch. So we kind of just had a large contingent of people, and it was a really good training. Again, still focusing on finishing the capital improvement project plan. It's just plugging away at it slowly, and finish the budget. But everything's status quo right now. It's kind of nice.
I have a quick question for the minutes. Was that training just for fire, or was that fire and
Just fire.
EM? Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Thank you.
Moving on, the planning commission report from Mr. Milnick.
So there's a written report in your packet there for you. Just had a couple of highlights there. Mr. Sherman's our newest member. We did deal with the proposed amendment regarding that coming to the township board here shortly. That was a resident initiated zoning amendment that has been, we had a public hearing on it. We've had discussion, and I think we'll have some resolution to it at the March 4th meeting, and then that comes to the township board for final action. To continue to work on the winery ordinance, and there'll be a public hearing on that at the March 4th meeting. That is not considered to be done, but wanting additional public input on that. We did have our election of officers, and Reen's our chair, Sade Merchant is our vice chair, and Denise continues to be secretary. Most of the meeting was spent on the Giffords-Webster materials that we continue to go through. We're dealing with some more complicated portions of the zoning ordinance that have to do with land use developments and plan reviews, site plan reviews, regular plan unit development. I could go on for a long time about the complexity of that, but that's really quite substantial. But anyway, I think we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel here, and we'll have that amendment wrapped up. Those group of amendments, there's probably 4 different key sections of the ordinance that will change and be improved, and that'll be finalized. Of course, the planning commission will have a public hearing on that, and then come back to the township board for action. So that's it. That's the highlight.
So the planning commission is almost completely done with everything.
No. No, in fact, that's a good point, though. We broke up the zoning ordinance rewrite into 5 different sections. We're on section number 1. It is the more involved, I think, and complicated section of the ordinance.
And it's been about 6 months, do you think?
Well, I have a timeline of that, but I don't have it in front of me.
Okay.
But it was probably about 5 months that we've been actually working through material. When we had the first part of the year was spent selecting the consultant, working through a scope of services, and then giving them time to get familiar with our issues and come up with draft material to look at.
There's an annual report of what the PC has been doing all year in their next packet as well.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yes. Yeah, that'll be
People can check out.
That'll be to be approved at the March 4th meeting and then coming to the township board shortly after. It's a requirement of the Planning Act.
And then it will end up in our packet as a report. Okay. Good.
Nice.
To the proposed rezoning issues south of 72 and west of Broomhead.
There is most of that land is zoned commercial except for a small sliver of property that is on the southern edge of those parcels So the issue has been the prior zoning map did not have them zoned commercial, but it really appears as though they should have been. And so we're trying to correct that.
So you're just talking just south of M72, not really
Well,
looking
it
down.
goes, these slivers are actually 500 feet or so off of 72.
Okay. All right, and then the wineries, are there specific locations that are already being considered?
There's requirements now that the area be zoned agricultural and that the lot size be 20 acres or more in order to have a winery.
Okay.
That's the current draft that's under consideration. Just yesterday, we had a map produced that shows where that would actually potentially be located. We mapped out where 20-acre parcels are in agricultural land so that we could see where you could have a facility like that.
Okay.
But
Is there,
again,
is there
it's-
is there something on the horizon that like somebody is specifically looking to do this in the near future? Or are
There
we
could
just?
be, I guess I don't know private plans, of course, that people have, but it does also connect to the master plan, which was the intention of trying to support agritourism in our township.
Yeah,
Well, they can't apply for it until there's
right,
an
something
allowance
in
for it,
place.
so
Yeah, I was just
it
wondering.
wouldn't
if
really
there
be
was-
appropriate to speculate on, I don't think.
But there's a lot of agricultural land in the township, obviously, so we were trying to find out, as written, where could one theoretically go?
Okay.
So we'll have that map at the meeting next week.
Right.
So.
All right. I think we're done with our questions. We can move on to the zoning report with Mrs. Graber.
Good morning. My zoning report's in there. Just to add on to the text amendment, or the amendment we're gonna have on that zoning district, we have a lot of split zoned properties in the township. So when they did that 500-foot north and south of M72, it kind of split a lot of parcels on that area. So we've got there's a lot more of these out there. And the Maitlands are just wanting to possibly split the property a little bit more, and they don't want to try to sell a piece of land that has two zonings on it, and that's why they're coming in for that. And there will be a hearing on that next week as well. So both of those are on there. There were four new permits issued in January. I don't want to say things are slower, but, with the snow on the ground, it has, and the cold helped. Zoning Board of Appeals did review the ZBA case 2023 ZA, and Wendy, if you're going to cover this, I won't. No.
You can do it.
So the Zoning Board of Appeals had a public hearing on January 22nd with Baggs Road Partners, who requested to have their variance requests from 2023 be revoked or withdrawn. They didn't want to proceed with that variance, and that was approved by the ZBA as well as, and so that case created a moot point for the lawsuit that was going on at the Michigan Court of Appeals. They had pushed it back to the township to create better findings of fact to support the decision they made in August of '23, and that was null and void. So that was all filed through our attorneys in Lansing, and they were going to take care of that. So that Court of Appeal should be a null and void situation as well. I have changed how complaints are going to be logged on my zoning report with input from Peter Wendling. So I will give you a listing of the things that have been completed and closed out. So does anyone have any questions about my report? Yeah.
So is there, I think there was a FOIA request in the last year for it, but is there a file of all the complaints that have been made with the township? How is it saved? Is it in who would you ask for it if somebody asked for it? The clerk?
You ask me. The FOIA's come to me.
Okay,
FOIA's come to me.
so we do keep track of
I
them.
log them on an Excel file, and then I have hard copies. Obviously I go out and investigate if I talk to
Right.
people, if I take photos, that type of thing. Yeah.
And it goes beyond in
Oh, yeah.
Bob and they, okay, all right,
Well, the ones
To
that
a
are there.
point.
okay.
The ones I can find. Yeah.
And is there any update on the Williamsburg Road issue? Have anybody heard anything on that?
On that, I was told that the sheriff and the county are taking care of that.
Okay.
You're talking about the trucks? I haven't
So-
seen them there in a
The
while.
only thing I heard was there is somebody that, I don't know if they own it or if they rent it, if they purchased it, according to Amy, or to Dawn Coons, it hasn't been sold. So my guess is they're renting it, and it's a place for drivers to sleep. So, are they operating a business because they're in a bed sleeping? I don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
Right.
But anyway, but I was told the sheriff is handling it, and I got that information from Linda.
Okay.
So
Any updates on the Heidish case?
I'm gonna defer that. I did not get a written response from the meeting on the 26th from the attorney. I do know that there was an brief filed that was tossed out by the judge. There's another hearing on March 13th that I've been asked to attend, as well, you, Tim. But I let Linda know I plan to go to that one. At this point, we're waiting for the judge to make a ruling. So, on the ordinance. So, outside of that, it's just, I know that the attorneys have asked for there have been 2 bench warrants issued for Denise Heidish, and there's been $2,000 that they're asking for that money to be reimbursed to the township because of all the, missed cases, missed court dates. Randy?
Questions?
I have a question. So do you have a report that shows the annual activity of the zoning permits? I mean, I know month by month we see the monthly ones
Yep,
that you have.
I do. I have it all.
Can you get that in the next packet for us?
Absolutely. Yeah, I plan to present it when I've been here, it'll be 2 years, April 1st, and I was kind of hoping I'd get an annual review of some sort, since I haven't gotten one in the last 2 years, to see if I'm meeting expectations, exceeding, or not meeting at all. So I was hoping to present it at that time. So I've had that
I
conversation
don't see
with
how they're
Linda.
connected. So
Well, it's what I've accomplished and what I've been working on, so, but yeah, I can get to that.
okay.
Yep, I'll bring it to the next meeting. It'll be part of my
But
package.
I'm just asking for it to be in the package. So we're,
Yeah.
for example, working on the annual report. So it was for the planning commission. So I think it'd be helpful. to
Oh, I
have-
gave the planning commission all of their site plan reviews, but,
No, I know that, but I'm
but,
just, I'm
but
just,
zoning permits aren't really part of what the planning commission does.
but it does indicate the amount of development activity that's happening
does.
in the township. And so
Yep,
I'm just,
I can do that. I'll get it to you for the next month.
for the next board meeting.
Yep. Anything
Other
else?
questions?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
So the Parks and Rec report is in the packet. Looks like a little bit about the reservations and how they did open on February 1st. Guys want to talk about that report at all?
No, I think he's going to, at a minimum, keep giving us updated numbers.
Yeah. The next thing in the packet is the review of the Policy and Procedure Manual 3.0. And Mr. Aaron's, would you like to talk about that?
Sure. Now asking for a motion, based on what happened the last time with the 4.0, we weren't in a position with it being on the agenda for the first time to take action. So I think that this is an area that the supervisor asked me to kind of work on next. And instead of, there were just certain sections that there needed to be clarity, but like we did with the last one, if we're going to just focus on one section, why don't we just focus on the whole section 3.0? And I did find it helpful, Wendy, when you went and found the standard, the current standard, because I don't know how old these things are. They don't reference dates.
Is this a motion?
No, this is just discussion.
Okay,
Um,
but I
not
think
a-
you were making a motion so we could discuss it.
Yes,
No,
please.
well, it's a report, under reports.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not under
Okay.
business, so.
But that was a long.
Yeah, it's just a report. So I'm just putting it out there and just asking that maybe Wendy, if you could find that MTA GFOA thing, whatever, and do your side by side and then send that to us. And did you send it in?
I can do either way, Word, yeah.
Word is easier because what I did, the last one you sent, I tried to convert the last one you sent in PDF, and Adobe did an update and something was messed up with it. And the font was just all screwy with it. I couldn't get it to
There's been a
convert.
couple people complaining to me about their Adobe lately, so I'm going to mention that to Noah.
Well, I did have to call Noah because,
Okay.
and he said that same day his was messed up and he had to go in and
Mine was too.
So
he had to go in and take the update away or whatever.
Yeah, mine was asking to update it when I'm just trying to open it.
So anyway, this is just in your packet. Just you got a couple weeks to take a look at this, and I don't know if you want to. You'll then be able to kind of go side by side and come back with your ideas. And my goal is maybe to have this on the agenda for the 13th. That might be too aggressive. I don't know. It's not real long. So that's that.
Moving on, consent calendar. Anybody want to move anything from the consent calendar?
I do.
So do I.
We have to move bills, don't we?
Yes, I need to remove the bills for approval and add social explorations for a PC computer that's kind of emergent.
Did you want to move something?
I just wanted to pull the minutes from February 12th.
And then I would make a, Jill,
What I was just curious what department the PC computer was going to.
it's just bills.
PC. Oh, the bills for
Oh,
approval.
For planning commission, does that mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar as amended.
I'll second. Kester?
All those in favor?
I
Aye.
I,
All right, the bills for approval, like I just said, it's just adding a computer.
I'll start with a motion, should we? I'll make a motion to approve the bills as amended,
Oh, I was just, okay,
and then we can discuss.
I'll second
That's
that.
what I,
yes.
okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So we still could have discussed, I was trying to
Yeah,
follow.
yeah. So then, I just was gonna add just the one computer. It's, just one that literally just stopped working, the battery, and it was an older computer, so it was one of the ones that did not get changed out yet, so.
Denise's.
Yeah.
She's in trouble with that.
Yeah, she has had.
How fast can he do it?
She's gonna be here tomorrow.
Okay.
And then for the minutes,
No, I need a vote first on the bills payable. We have a motion and a second, and then
I think
discussion.
we actually voted before discussion. It's just a little backwards.
Sorry, I didn't hear that part.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
seems backwards.
I know, but that's,
Yep.
and then see if there's a second. And then Randy can,
Oh, I'll second that. Okay, and I have a correction. Are you ready for it?
Down.
Page 5, under public comment, under Kim Mangus. The second sentence says, she supported the private road ordinance, but noted the current proposal lacks public road building standards and does not address future access improvements for emergency vehicles. I went back,
But that's what she said.
well, I don't think,
It's right.
no, I know. I don't think she said that, though. I think what she said was that the current proposal simply provides references to the road standards. It doesn't lack them. There's references to the private road standards.
She was saying there was no references in the standards. That's what I heard.
There are references.
yeah.
There are reference. It's a link.
Yeah. But she didn't understand that at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. I know. I already talked to her about that.
Oh, okay. Because it's the standards are there. It's just that it's 250 pages worth of engineering stuff
Yep.
that you would not normally put into an ordinance. So she did make the suggestion that the actual public road building standards be available.
Right.
Which I think that should be added perhaps then to the minutes. And that'll be done. We'll definitely print those out. So that was a statement that was made.
I mean,
What do you want that done since
I'm
Sounds like I'm not
willing
changing
to add that she wants the standards of it made available.
Okay.
Yeah. She was mistaken that they were not in there. Yeah. Okay. Just
Is that clear what we're talking about here? We have a reference to the standards, but the standards are hundreds
She
of
wanted them on the
pages.
table, yeah.
Yeah, and that's not a problem. We can do that. But I've already collected them.
I remember.
So
I'm
just as a
taking out-
reminder, the minutes are a record of the actions that happened, not every word that was said, but also, I mean, people are going to make their own comments and they're not necessarily true. So
I'm going to leave the word lack as she stated.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to leave the word lack as she stated. Randy had crossed off lack.
That's what I thought should happen.
Right.
It's,
As I understand it, I'm just adding that she would like the standards to be made available.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yeah.
okay, you can, that's fine. I just want to be sure that the standards
no
are
confusion,
referenced.
yeah.
It's not that, it would be silly to have a private road ordinance without any engineering standards.
Correct.
Why would you do it? So, but somebody picking up the minutes could assume that they're not in there, which they are.
Got it.
You guys ready to move on to unfinished business?
Got to vote on the,
I thought we already did. Sorry. We did. Didn't we?
and then we have to vote on the
Need to
minutes.
eat breakfast.
I'll move to approve the amended minutes then.
Well, we made the motion in the
So-
second already.
Oh, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unfinished business. Any park or recreation items? Verbal report of the boat wash station. Mr. Aaron's.
Yep. Linda wanted me to update the board. So I met with C2AE and they're doing their final engineering design. There were a couple little things that I noticed that needed some changes. And we decided to follow, not knowing what the dollar amount might be on this one, we're going to follow the sealed bid process on that. This will be on your agenda, on your next agenda. What is that? The 12th?
Yes.
And then with that, there'll be, I don't know if we'll put the whole thing in the packet, maybe, but there'll be an action item on the agenda for you to move forward and allow it to be bid. And the other thing,
Before you move on, is there an estimated cost for this? And
we're thinking up to, well, a total is going to be, I'm estimating around 45,000 all inclusive.
I think it was 47.2.
What is in the budget?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like
is
that.
that the engineer's estimate or is
Yes.
that?
Well, and I'm adding the boat wash and the engineering and design costs as well in
All in
so
with
it's all
47?
inclusive, yeah. So, and it's been over 2 years. 20,000 is from a grant to cover part of it. 20,000 was from the tribal grant 4 years ago. 3,
Oh,
4.
okay. I was just going to ask how it's funded.
Yeah. And then the rest is the park funds. So I don't know if we
so
might,
20,000 grant, 20,000 local.
yeah, kind of like the match, yeah. And yeah, I mean, if we don't do it, we're going to have to return that 20,000. So, and the other part is the water discharge. It requires a water discharge permit from Eagle. And that's, when they explained the process to me, Linda and I and Wendy today agreed that this might be a better thing to have the engineer handle that because we can't start the project until we have the permit. So I don't know how long it takes to get, actually, we're going to be asking for an exemption to the permit. So, and we expect substantial completion to be June 15th. So that's all I had on that.
Further questions?
So,
All right. We're going to move on to new business. A tribal grant acceptance and related purchase order motions. So, Mr. Aaron's,
I'm going to find it.
Front Chief.
I'll make a motion to accept a total of $26,439 and 2% tribal grant funding awarded by the Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Indians to support fire department and township park safety projects, and to authorize the required $980 local match from the parks budget, with grant funds and matching funds to be recognized and accounted for in the appropriate departmental budgets.
I'll second that motion.
Okay.
All in favor?
Well, so we have discussion right now?
We can if we want to.
Well,
A discussion?
yeah, I didn't know if maybe for the public that might be watching, just another opportunity, if Josh would let us know what this is going to fund would be a benefit, I think.
Okay. So we received, like Trustee Art said, 26,436 in tribal grants. That is to support the purchase of 3 or 4 sets of turnout gear. Working with the supplier, we might be able to squeeze a 4th set out of the acceptance. Is like just over 16,000 for that. The purchase of a new thermal, actually 3 new thermal imaging cameras. It's a bundle, 1 big thermal imaging camera and 2 smaller ones for search, detecting hot spots and fires, and then also for park safety upgrades. And I met with Tom Bartnicki yesterday. We went over his list. That's getting a safety boat for the park, kind of like when you go to a state park, there's usually that boat at the beach with oars, life vests, throw rings, new safety buoys, signage, a new AED, stop the bleed kits, kind of a bunch of safety supplies, all to be at Whitewater Township Park just to help when the rangers aren't there or something were to go wrong, and for an AED at High Prairie Park, just because with sports happening there and that quick access. So that's what this grant is going to fund.
Are you going to have a stop bleed kit at the High Prairie Park?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Good.
What does that kit involve? What,
The stop to bleed. It's got like a tourniquet. It's got gauze. It's stuff that you like shove inside the wound to stop bleeding. Coagulates there. Lots of. It's a kit. When with purchasing it, then we will put on. I can put on a stop the bleed training. So like coaches and people that use High Prairie Park, the park staff can all take the stop the bleed training as well. So it's kind of a phased setup.
Like a first aid. Yeah. Nice.
Yep.
Any other discussion?
It's great.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
And I,
Your next motion?
well, so clarifying question first. This next motion is to authorize the related purchase orders, but they're not specific. Is it too generic to be on the agenda right now? I mean, I don't know, making this motion, which is basically authorize the related purchase orders awarded from the 2% grant. He explained all these different things, but I don't know what the purchase order is to a vendor, and I don't know what vendor.
I think that once we already have the support to buy that stuff on the first motion, I don't think you really need to authorize the issues of purchase orders.
I didn't
So-
think so either, because it kind of says it up there, doesn't it?
Yeah, so the purchase order will just say that the township board already approved, spending this fund for,
The 20, up to 26,439.
yeah, up
We
for
already-
this, yeah.
Okay.
We're good.
Yeah, okay, because that just seemed too vague. Okay, thank you.
All right. So moving on, the tower lease renegotiation offer analysis, Mr. Aaron's.
Okay, I'll start this by making a motion to not renegotiate the existing tower lease agreements.
I'll second that.
Okay, the discussion is, I know at least Jill has been contacted by a tower lease company or something with some kind of a very lucrative, rather, offer to manage the devices on the towers or the towers themselves. I'm not sure what that one was all about. But since we've been elected, Linda and I have been talking with a company that works for American Tower as an affiliate, Tower Alliance LLC, and they have been very much trying to renegotiate the two towers, one at the fire station and the other at the township, Whitewater Township Park, and saying that, you know, these towers are, the leases are upside down, the company can't make any money because the escalator is 3%. And in looking back in the history, I even remember watching a meeting from the prior board. This has been going on for quite some time with them trying to renegotiate. They'll offer different terms and then nothing happens and they'll kind of offer different terms again. And it just kind of keeps going. Well, then they got a fresh board to kind of work with and are trying it again. And I did the analysis, which is in your packet, and you can see that it just, the numbers just don't work. And there's this threat that, well, yeah, they could just say, well, we're, Verizon are the only customers on the towers. Linda and I can understand why they don't have more customers on the tower, but that's neither here nor there. So anyway, we just decided after all the evaluation and phone calls, and there were many, and I did reach out to a consultant. Actually, it was recommended by the CPAs to contact Fahey Schultz. They have a specific person that works on these kind of tower lease agreements. And he said this is a very common practice for tower companies to try to renegotiate. And he said that, gave me the name of Towers in the Air to talk to, and I talked to them. And he agreed, and he said the same thing. And I told him the last time this was analyzed by the prior board, it was recommended to not renegotiate. And the board took action to not renegotiate at that time. 23, I think, 2023. So he said, but if the board wants, I can evaluate the two leases, for the two towers, and it would be $5,000. So after talking with Linda, I mean, I had a predicted outcome. So after talking with Linda, we thought we would recommend to the board to not renegotiate, but give the board the option if you would like, because they don't contact just us, they might contact you as well. So there is a company out there, if we ever want to have it evaluated, and that's about the amount that we would be paying.
So do I read this right? It's $250,000 almost of the difference over the next 15 years. If we renegotiated, we would be down that much over the next 15, 16 years.
Yeah, through the term of the current lease, you'll be down to $223,000.
$223,000.
Yeah, and you only start making it up when they extended it another 4 years. Or five, the offer was to extend it 5 years. You can see where it kind of cuts off there in 2042. And well, when we get to 2042, whoever is in these chairs will by then have renegotiated new leases with somebody. So so
it's really more like 35 if you went out to the full 2040.
Well, that's how they make the numbers work, is they just extend the lease 5 more years. But that's why I did it separate like that.
Okay. There's no present value here, though, going calculations?
No. This is the annual revenue, period. So that's the math. And they were offering a $15,000 bonus up front.
That's what people get.
And they said that the company, when Linda and I tried to renegotiate, what if we made it 2% instead of 3%? And they said it's non-negotiable on the escalator, and but we could negotiate a higher bonus in the upfront, and it just so. And DeAndre does know that this is on the agenda. He might even be watching the meeting now. So, but Linda, if we do approve this motion, we'll be contacting him.
Any other questions? You ready to vote? All in
The motion
favor?
was to not
No,
Correct.
yeah.
renegotiate.
Right. Just to keep it as it
Made
is.
by Aaron, second by Milnick.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Next thing on the new business is a consideration of a purchase order for Manor Custodian for CPA services. Mr. Aaron's.
I'll make a motion that the supervisor and clerk,
Yes.
I noticed that the supervisor and clerk be authorized to sign a purchase order with Maynard Casterison for general ledger and payroll system reconciliations and training.
Up to $10,000.
Yes.
I'll second that motion.
Well, it would be for $10,000, not up to, right? We wouldn't have to spend it all, but yeah. And so for discussion on the net to exceed,
Right.
is that what you write on the?
Yep.
'Cause
Yep.
just so that, make sure it comes
Yeah.
back.
Questions?
I guess my only question on this, I mean, I wrote the motion, which, are they really providing training? Is that part of what we asked them to do, or are they just simply doing the reconciliation? I mean, are they going to show you?
That was part of the proposal when you and I first talked to them, that they can provide any training that we need. So I think once everything is said and done, I would like them to help create the workflow chart,
Okay.
just to have, and that they have, they know the system inside and out, and BSA is equipped with ways to do all these approvals between Wendy and I right in BSNA, and I don't think either one of us are using that right now, and I would like to know how to do that and what they recommend.
Okay, and then when I was reading, even the 4.0, when we get to it, even though
But we can talk about that when we
well,
get there.
no, but it's kind of to this. There's a process what she's talking about with the flow where even though the treasurer does the reconciliations, then it does go to the clerk to,
Right.
and then stuff with payroll, there's stuff in payroll
Right.
where it goes to the, so, yeah, if they can
We didn't
kinda
get the
that
actual
up.
approval module that we were talking about in the beginning, so that is something different than that. But I mean, I would like to see what they're saying too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. The next new business would be the sale of the Kubota. Josh.
Well, we
The
should,
thing that you just gave us.
Myself out a copy.
I'll make a motion
Here.
that the board authorizes the public sale of a 2004 Kubota RTV 900, previously declared surplus to Thomas Cosgrove in the amount of $10,200, and authorizes the township clerk to execute all necessary documents to sign the title to complete the transfer of ownership.
I'll second that.
And then my
Discussion?
discussion on it would be, I don't know that we need the chief necessarily to address it. Wendy was able to answer my question, but what was the process in doing this public offering?
I contacted MTA to know the correct process, and basically they said you have to publicly list this so that all will be available to all the public. So Chief Morgan did put it on social media, and then we also posted it here on the bulletin board in the Township Hall. It's my understanding you've had how many people look at it? Over 1,000 people, yeah, look at it. And there was multiple bids, as we can see on the memo too.
Was it on Marketplace? What was, okay.
Where's the information on the bids?
We handed it out. Right. Right. You have it?
Yeah.
What was that appraised for? I think that was in a prior meeting.
Oh, I get
Ginnup's appraised it for 10,000, between 10,000 and 10,500.
Right.
So they looked back over the past few years of that exact model within the couple years range. Ours had 311 hours on it. Most of those that were being sold for less had thousands and thousands of hours. I mean, 300 hours is almost brand new. So,
We got a nice price for it.
yep.
And that's part of the law too, that it has to be the current market value. So.
New? Oh, they're like new, they're like 30, 40,000.
Oh, and
She said it was appraised for between 10 and 10.5, and we got 10.2 if we approved the sale.
who appraised it?
You know, s-
Okay.
So there were two bids, essentially?
3 beds.
3 bids.
Oh, okay.
It's on that front page I gave you.
And I redacted the first names and the email addresses out, just so that way, since it's a public document.
This will be added to the packet.
Yep.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. The next thing is going to be the PC appointment and resignation acceptal.
So,
Do you want to start with the resignation motion?
pardon me?
Do you want to do the resignation motion?
I think so. I think that's appropriate.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Keith DeYoung from the Planning Commission effective 2/26/26.
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
I'll make a motion to confirm the recommendation of the supervisor appointing Rod Reband to the Whitewater Township Planning Commission effective 2/26/26. The term shall end on December 31st, 2028.
I'll second that motion.
And this is a roll call then, right?
It is.
Okay.
Hester.
Yes.
Aaron's.
Yes.
Hooksma, yes. Milnick.
Yes.
Motion passes. And I'll get with Rod to take his oath within the next 10 days.
If you could do that within the next few days, that would be helpful. Our meeting's coming up on the 4th.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if that everyone's schedule permits that or not, but
Yeah.
just knowing that would that'd be helpful.
The next thing that we added to the new business was just discussion of the recycle bins here at the Township Hall. And I'll let you talk about that, Mr. Aaron's.
Well, I'd actually like to see it be a decision of the board that we're all on the same page. So I'll just make a motion that the board resolve to relocate the recycle bins out of the township parking lot, Township Hall parking lot.
I will second that motion. Motion.
To a location to be determined, really.
Yes.
So
Okay.
there's options. So
Discuss.
if you got a second, so for discussion, I just 10 minutes before the meeting, I got a call from Linda, and it was based on a call that Wendy made. We received a complaint from this neighborhood. I mean, this Township Hall is in a neighborhood,
It's more than one complaint. Yeah.
and they are emptying the dumpsters at 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's quite noisy, and I think you've all been here to know how long it takes with them being double stacked. There's a picture Wendy did from our camera where they've complained that people during the day are trying to continually dump stuff in there while they're trying to empty the dumpsters, and it's such a tight space that it's very complicated. And I'm not sure the wisdom in deciding to put them here, other than maybe the security cameras were the reason that they wanted them to prevent dumping, I suppose. But it's just, there's not enough room. And we have other locations, I think, that would make it so much easier for the public and allow us to have, adequate parking here for meetings. I think that's all I had on there. Oh, but anyway, so this GFL, initially, I tried to contact him, 3 weeks ago, and the guy I was working with on cleanup day moved to another location. He gave me the email addresses of the other people. They never contacted me, and then Wendy reached out and was able to talk to somebody, and this Travis guy apparently is going to be calling you back or Linda back, I'm not sure. And then, so they did actually call Linda, and it wasn't him, but they said, well, how fast are you looking to do this? And Linda basically said, as soon as possible. So we need to kind of look at different locations, and I've been working with the chief a little bit about High Prairie Park. Linda had the idea that maybe something could be worked out with Meyer in their huge, massive parking areas. I don't know. So we'll see, but this will at least put it on record that we are resolved to move them. And we've been talking about it really since we got elected, and it's really time. We just got to take action.
It's, I've witnessed the actual truck being upright and dumping at the same time where people are walking underneath it. So that's kind of scary for me just for the safety here, benefit and liability, but also the amount of traffic that's coming in and out and ruining our pavement. When Black Magic was going around looking at where they could fill cracks, like in the park and that kind of thing, they came here and they said there would be no point because there's garbage trucks coming in and out. It would just break it all up again. So that's something to consider too.
Well, the whole parking lot, it needs to be, it's just beyond repair.
But it's not helping any, them.
Are we, what is our responsibility? Like if we moved it across from the fire station, are we responsible for putting a level ground down of any sort, or do they take care of that?
It's going to be the discussion.
Yeah, we don't really have to have these, right? I mean, this is a service and a benefit.
We do not get
We're not
paid
paid
for it.
anything from this. It's just we're just offering a free place for them to dump their dumpsters.
It's a GFL program.
Yep. And then we also have the county program for recovery of the batteries back there too. So
Separate from GFO?
it is separate. Yep. That could stay here, honestly.
And so wouldn't it be GFL's responsibility to find a new place? Why are we responsible for finding a new place?
I mean, maybe they would have an
Yeah.
input on it.
I mean, it just seems like if we say they don't fit here anymore, we're outgrowing our space and they need to relocate them. It
That's-
doesn't seem
that's what
like, it
Linda-
seems like our end of responsibility right there.
Well, if they're going to put them on township property, then that is a township board decision where to
Right.
go. But if there's another location like the Meyer, that's what Linda's going to talk to them about. Does GFL have a relationship with Meyer where they would be willing to put them there? So our only responsibility is what happens on our property. And then, of course, we would want fencing to keep stuff from blowing into neighbors' yards and things like that. So,
Considering noise and, yeah.
right. So we'll just have to find out from them. Then maybe they wouldn't have to.
I think the public appreciates them. I mean, I know I appreciate them too. And then being this close to 72, they can, a lot of people are just passing through and using this and know that they're here. So I think that's part of it is we got to be accessible if we do decide. But I agree with Jill. Like, I think this isn't even our responsibility kind of thing,
No, we can tell them we want them to move them, but then they got to.
Figure out where, yeah. What's the best place? Yeah.
So I think there's a couple issues here. I think number one is location. Number two is operation. I think if you take this and move it someplace else, you're likely to have the same kinds of issues that you're dealing with here. Maybe less people impacted by it, but if they're coming by at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm surprised to hear that they would consider that even that's
Well,
option for them.
What they told me is that the drivers are so anxious about people being around that they are trying to do them at times where there's no one around.
Right.
Yeah.
So if they were not double stacked, if they were just, like they are in Up Rapids, they come during the day and they're just bing, 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 and they move.
Maybe they could do it normal hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to move the problem into somebody else's neighborhood. That's not, I get that. We want to move them someplace where they don't have to empty them at 3 a.m.
Yeah. And High Prairie Park does not seem like an ideal location. I mean, for one, it's a park. Two, even if it was right across from the fire station, that's a condensed neighborhood. They're going to have the same issues. It just seems like maybe in one of these big big parking lots from a local business that, I don't know the name of the business, but it's that one up on the hill that's always been for sale. It kind of looks like a little Western storefront. I don't know what it is now. It looks like it's just storage, but they've got a huge parking lot. It's just sitting there empty.
Or even gas station or somewhere,
Yeah, the casino parking lot is huge. The back
True.
portion of that
Yeah.
casino parking lot is not ever used. So I don't think it needs to be our business or responsibility to try to
I
find a
agree with you,
location
Jill,
for
in
'em.
terms of that location by High Prairie Park not being ideal in that, and today we're trying to redevelop. and I
Doesn't
hate to see-
beautify it.
I hate to see us go the other way with things and then I also wonder about the costs associated with putting in stone or whatever
Right.
else to be able to do that and fencing. That's not a small amount of money. Those trucks are heavy.
Right.
To be able to have the base in there to be able to do that is significant. But I'm all in favor of trying to find a better solution for this. It is not ideal here by a long shot.
I think we're going to hear the public's comments about this too.
About the what?
About the public's ideas about where it should go and that they still want it. Yeah.
Oh, I think that they definitely want it.
Yeah.
And not have to go to Elk Rapids or something like that, or Acme. But I don't think you're going to have anybody complaining that this is the best location. I mean, it's clearly.
It's hard for them to get in and out too.
I've only heard complaints about where we have it. But I'm not saying eliminate it at all.
But it does seem like the operational aspects of this are as much of a problem as, I mean, they're going to have the same issues somewhere else. So,
Well, maybe GFO has had it before, where they know.
well, maybe there's a way to deal with GFL in a way that prevents them from operating in ways that are going to be impactful to the neighbors.
Right.
I also wonder if there's any zoning dimensions to this. We need to look at that.
Lots of factors. I think are we all in agreement, though, that it needs to be moved?
Yeah, we can vote on it.
Can you, re-say the motion?
Maybe, can you read the motion back, Kay? I don't think I can duplicate what I said. That was so eloquent.
I would. My computer froze up in the last 30 seconds, and it's going crazy, and I can't scroll.
I moved
So I can't see it. It was very direct.
I moved to resolve
Yep.
the relocation of the recycle bins out of the Township Hall parking lot.
To another location is how it ended.
Correct.
That's exactly what it was.
Okay. I remembered.
Like I said, I make a motion for
Can you
the
second
board
it?
to resolve moving them. Yeah.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Yeah, make a motion that the board resolve to, yeah.
So tabled items, review of the policy and procedure manual 4.0.
Okay, I'll start by making a motion to approve the recommended changes to section 4.0 financial administration of the policies and procedures manual as amended from what's in your packet.
I'll second that motion. Kester?
I had previously emailed all of you, just for maybe the public that might be watching. We had talked even after we first got elected that maybe one at a time we'd like to go through our policies and procedures and make sure that they were consistent with current legislation, best practices, and or things that the board would like to do differently, perhaps, and at least to make our policies and procedures consistent with how we actually are operating, and if we want to continue to operate that way. In some cases, that has not been what's been happening.
Or at least the
Just
best
with this board, with prior boards, it's just
practices that need to be happening, yes.
right. So at your last meeting, I presented this, and there were just too many. There wasn't really time, is what I heard, for the board members to have sufficient time to review an entire chapter of the PNP manual and have that addressed and approved at one meeting. So we moved it out another meeting, and in the meantime, Wendy went and found a draft or a consolidated policy from the MTA, and I don't know if it just, MTA said it was a GASB best practices, but.
Well, I took the two things and
You took both?
merged them, yes.
And then it appeared to me when I reviewed it that chapter by chapter, or section by section, it looked like Wendy had everything in there. And it just basically brings it back to more of a basic policy without micromanaging. The clerk does this, the treasurer does that, and this. And it looked like the current one that we had probably was amended several times to say the clerk should do this or that, and so that's sort of how it felt and read to me. But this kind of brings it back a little bit. One of the main reasons for reviewing this section is Linda and I had discussed that the approval amounts for purchase orders and sealed bids and that haven't been raised in so long. So we wanted to see those dollar amounts raised. But I'll go through this a little bit section by section. So since the last meeting, I did put the two side by side. The current one and this one that Wendy provided. And I want to just go through, I handed it out to all of you, I emailed it before. when you go to section 4.1, I highlighted fund and account number. This is something we discussed at the last board meeting when we have bills for approval. That was something the board requested beyond the bills for approval. It wasn't on this one either. Wendy said she would take it under advisement, but I did notice even in the prior policy, that was a requirement. So,
So my concern with that is that you guys are approving or going to look at it and go, well, that shouldn't be in that, that account, so I'm not going to approve the bills for approval, that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
well, that's
So it's in
that's precisely the reason that
the-
you
but
want
it's
it.
already
so
in
that-
the revenue and expense report, though, so.
But that's precisely the reason that you want it. And as an example, I think that you're going to find at the board level, it's not necessarily, I'm not going to approve it if you put it in this account number. The board is responsible for adopting a budget with all of these general ledger account numbers, departments, and funds. And it's the clerk's job to do the accounts payable and to the best of the clerk's ability to put things in the accounts that the board intended that they be budgeted. And
Correct.
sometimes mistakes will happen. As an example, I was reviewing the budget yesterday with the supervisor, and she was asking me about this one. I said, well, let me run a budget report. I don't know what's in there. And we were on Township Hall and Grounds, and under facility maintenance, there was a $2,900 bill for K-Held. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that we would look at and say, well, this account number doesn't
Just
look
extra
right.
eyes to catch stuff, yeah.
So one question, though, that I have for you on that. So if we got the bills for approval, and if we did notice that, oh, this is the wrong department or this, whatever, and I realize that your deputy is new and she's probably entering a lot of this stuff too, so, but if we find something at a board meeting where we think it's the wrong account number, you agree, have you already, do you have to do a journal entry or can you change it before you print the check or how?
It's changeable either way.
Okay, but you
Yeah.
So
know,
why can't we just do it, bills as amended? Why wouldn't we just say, we look at it, and if there's some correction that needs to be made, why wouldn't we just be able to say we approve it as amended, like we do everything else?
Oh, well, we would.
could, yeah.
Well, yeah, so
we
that,
would,
so it
yeah.
wouldn't hang anything up.
No, I get it.
So that's really the reason for that. And the other thing to keep in mind too when that happens, so you get a bill for your cell phone bill, you get one bill. And keep in mind that you say you want to see the account numbers. Well, you might see 5 different account numbers because it's going to be spread to 5
3.
different departments.
Yeah.
So apparently it was in the prior policy. It's in the current policy. It's an MTA best practice. So BSNA must have this out there. Okay. So in 4.1D, oh, the one thing I thought, yeah, that was missing, and we're different than others. We have a campground. So I just saw that the clerk shall issue a cash drawer in the amount of $150 to the Parks and Recreation Manager at the beginning of each camping season.
I think that amount needs to be changed. I believe it was 300 this past summer.
It was, but
Making change and.
I think they had 2 separate ones, a 150 for a change drawer and then one.
They had petty cash.
Yeah.
So how do we put this then?
Well, you can just make it.
Just make it
cash
3,
drawer,
just make
300,
it.
yeah.
So petty, so we
300.
just, on 4.1, we just need to add $100 cash, $100 petty cash for the park. And then the cash drawer, I believe, was 300 that they need for just conducting business.
Okay. Okay, so you want me to say, after the 150, to say, and a $100 petty cash, and $100 in petty cash. Okay, got it. All right.
Trying to go cashless.
Yeah, we are, and eventually, hopefully, we can, I think it's going to maybe be a problem to go entirely cash-free if somebody's card just isn't clearing or, something happens. It is kind of nice if you can still take that $8 boat pack, so they can launch, right? What if they have their credit card, or what if they forgot it, or, all kinds of things can happen, so.
Do you want to put the petty cash up in a 4.1 for the park? That should be probably an under petty cash 4.1. And then for the change funds, that would be the 350 where you already have it. You could just change the amount from 150 to 300.
True. I like that one better.
What?
It says petty cash
I can
fund.
just change that to 300, but just up here in petty cash is where we're just adding that the park would also receive $100 in petty cash.
Just a second. I'm going to restate this as soon as I get this in here right. The petty cash fund shall not exceed $300.
That's just for any petty.
That's just petty cash in general, Jill. That's talking that you can't
Well, then
spend.
she wants it to say the park should be issued a petty cash of 100.
Okay. Petty cash shall be maintained in the custody of the clerk office unless otherwise authorized. Petty cash fund shall not, okay.
Because, it would only be the clerk and the park would have petty cash.
That's the
treasurer.
policy for the petty cash, though. Like it probably does need to be in 41D
I think
because
it's
that's
D.
the
That's-
cash issued to the.
Yeah, 4.1C is the petty cash policy. It's
Then the T is actually saying what's going where.
tomato, tomato.
Yeah, well, kind of.
I'm just gonna.
The reason why it just says that the petty cash would be maintained by the clerk's office. Well, wouldn't the park be maintaining a separate petty cash?
It says
That's fine.
unless otherwise authorized,
Okay.
and we're otherwise authorizing in 4.1D.
But I'm still the person that has to give it out.
Right.
And 100 petty cash.
So what you said in the first place was.
Yeah. So now it will say 4.1D will now say have added the clerk at the end there. The clerk shall issue a cash drawer in the amount of 300 and 100 petty cash to the Parks and Rec manager at the beginning of each camping season. Doesn't say anything about turning it back in the fall. But that's just, that's our process.
Bonus.
Should it say to be returned?
Should be accounted for at the end of season.
To be returned upon closing of the park for the season. How's that?
Yep.
I just say that no petty cash purchase can exceed $100.
So you can't just take it all and blow it on something?
Yeah, you got to get a purchase order for that, or not. You have to go through the normal purchasing process. That's what we had at the city too. It couldn't exceed 100.
It's just meant for little emergency expenses.
I'm single, petty cash, okay.
Well, everyone has,
So
the department heads have a credit card anyway, so like,
Oh.
they wouldn't need it.
Okay.
But, all right, so the next one, 4.2 payroll administration. I just highlighted it. I think Wendy, I don't know if this probably wasn't an MTA thing, but I think Wendy added electronic signatures may be accepted if identity is verifiable. Is that the new standard now?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just like how the supervisor approves, like a timesheet through email. That's, yeah.
Because that was an issue I had a few years ago with the clerk wouldn't accept my electronic signature, so. Anyway, 4.2F, payroll reporting, post-audit approval. This is just highlighted as a question for me. Okay, it says, and totals by fund department supporting documentation shall be available to board members for review. My question is this a BSNA report? So let me see here. Read the whole sentence. The clerk shall provide a payroll summary including pay period, payroll date, total amount, and totals by fund department. Supporting documentation shall be available to board members for review. So we talked about this a few meetings ago when we were talking about Maynard. And so my understanding as far as approval, this might be the place to bring it up, is in the payroll process, there's a part where you get to in payroll where it says print audit report or something like that. And you can print a report that, or maybe it's electronic, where the treasurer can review and approve it before the payroll goes to the next step. Is that accurate?
That is what BSNA said.
There is a
and
paper
recommended.
that we could apply that to, yes.
Okay, so that would be one way as far as, you know, how payrolls, everything's electronic and all this, and the treasurer right now is approving payroll after the fact. But, and, you know, and I don't know with the timing of your office hours when you're
Nobody's
available
gonna
and
get
that,
paid on time.
that kind of a thing.
So I have a
But-
suggestion.
So, but that, I'm just saying there is a mechanism within BSNA to allow for the treasurer to authorize the disbursement, I guess. So that's one thing I wanted to bring up. And then as far as this report, I'm not looking at all for this thing to be in, I don't think payroll should be in the board packet.
No, it would have to be redacted, a
So,
lot of it.
So I highlighted it because I think you told us that we can run, all of us have access to run payroll reports in BSNA. I believe.
Correct. Yep.
So I found like 4, and I haven't, to be honest, I haven't played around with it enough to get exactly what I want. I did notice a quirky thing. You type in the date range that you want for the payroll, and for me, I'm assuming, the payroll date starts here and it ends here on a Sunday. And I go to run a report, and I'm like, well, that doesn't match up with what I turned in. And then I found that the date that you put in there is the date of the check. So it's like the Friday after, and that's weird to
Yeah.
me.
So Fund Balance used to do that to me all the time too. So
Well, just so you know, if you're trying to run a payroll for a date range, you're not going to pick up the last payroll. You got to go to the date you were paid.
I guess we can decide what supporting documentation means.
So what I would like to see, and I don't know until I see it, I guess, I would like to see that audit report. If you can print one while you're doing it, and even if I'm given that report after the fact, it's not practical, it's not feasible for you to have to wait for me to approve it to finish payroll. I totally understand that. But the reports that I have access to in payroll are horrible for the audit purposes.
Right.
We're flipping back and forth. So I would like to at least see that report, that audit report. It might be more consistent and concise with what is matching, actually matching in what we're trying to audit. And if you could just print that and include it with the time cards.
Yeah, I did that
I
the
would like
last
to
time.
see that and just, and then we can maybe use that as our audit process, even though it's after the fact. It might be a little bit more helpful to audit payroll with that particular report. And I won't know that until I see it, but I'd like to see it. And it can only be printed while you're you're doing payroll. I have no access to it after the fact.
Because it's a step. So there's no change recommended here, but this was just more pointing it out to board members
Yeah, we need to keep
for
going.
discussion.
Okay. And again, I'd like to mention the need to get BSNA access.
Okay. Well, I said that I would sit down with people and show you how to do stuff. So that still stands. I will help you.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe this afternoon, you guys are meeting anyway.
Yeah.
We have time.
Okay, if you go to 4.3E, bank reconciliations, I'm trying to remember why I highlighted it. Say the clerk shall reconcile general ledger cash balances to treasurer fund allocations and or bank statements. And I'm asking, does this still apply with BSNA? And I think
Yeah.
I answered this question when my understanding is, and I did talk to Angie, and I think she told me, but my understanding is that the treasurer in BSNA now, the treasurer is responsible for reconciling the bank statements in the financial system in BSNA. And then the treasurer has to give the bank reconciliation to the clerk as the double check for the clerk to double check that, say, end of month cash balances agree with this reconciliation. And I know that there's
And to correct any errors.
I
that
know
might
that
be
there's
in
a
there.
township around in Antrim County. I could tell by reading the minutes in the Elk Rapids News. I can't remember which one. They recently converted to BSNA, and they're having a reconciliation issue as well, where it's just not. So they're needing outside help too. So it's not just us.
No, they did say it was a very common practice.
Okay,
So we're leaving that one in there. We
Yeah,
don't
that
need to
was just-
change anything.
He wanted
just to bring it to your attention and to let you know that, even though things are automated, BSNA does still recognize the statutory requirements of the double,
Right.
the internal control issue that small townships have. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the 4.5, I agree that the remaining balances should be on that, any kind of budget report or revenue and expense report. I just have to
Year to
work
date.
with BSNA to see
I'm trying to
how to do
remember what
that.
this is. Oh, okay, yeah.
Because it's not on there.
It's that
Yeah.
last column,
Yeah.
and it's showing. So when I talked to Richard, he said that's a standard report, and
Mm-hmm.
he sent us the one that you're putting in our packet, saying this is a good one to put in your board
Yeah.
packet. Well,
We're like, no, that's not enough.
January doesn't, just that last column, just saying the activity for their current month. If you did a journal entry for $100,000 transfer in that current, it makes that whole month look
It only makes sense to the people that are actually doing the activity and know what it is.
right.
Yeah.
So that just needs to say budget balance, what's left.
Yeah.
So Wendy will have to find that report. 4.5B, cash balances report. I just added the word, we want monthly cash balances from the treasurer by fund. So
Do we know if that's available in
Well,
this?
you will after you do your bank reconciliations, because you got to reconcile to each fund
Okay.
cash balance, right? So after you start taking over the reconciliation, I think you should provide the board not just here's how much money is in the bank. This is how, because we're getting a revenue and expense report from Wendy. We're not getting a balance sheet in the packet that would show cash by fund. So this is where we would find out how much money each fund has. Monthly balances report, current through, yeah. And, that's what I mean, monthly balances of what? It doesn't, I think it has to say by fund.
Okay.
4.6, inventory of fixed assets. I put in, for accounting of capital assets, assets shall be tangible, have an expected useful life of at least 1 year, and have a value of at least $5,000. We didn't have, last year at audit time, I went through and had departments do inventories and all this stuff, updated the general fixed assets for the township. There were things on there added over years and years and years of, stuff like these chairs that are listed and depreciated. These chairs are almost 30 years old, honestly, almost as old as me. But they were only worth like $400 a chair, and they're listed individually it's just, and we're depreciating, we're tracking this. And I think for depreciation purposes, I think it really needs to be something that has a life over a year, and most everything that's going to cost $5,000. As an example, the splitter, we're going to list that as an asset. That's a building improvement, and it costs what, $8,500 or whatever. And that should be depreciated. So that's an example, but I don't think that we should be depreciating SCBA units that the fire department uses that have a shelf life anyway. Or these, what he was talking about today, they've been depreciating their turnout gear for, and those are showing up in capital assets, and they just, that's a uniform. So,
And in the fixed asset module in BSNA, it'll say like the shelf life of it. So for instance, if it was the Kubota had a 7-year expected life expectancy on it, that kind of thing. So, I mean, like,
so that would allow for the depreciation then of,
Yeah. Yeah,
So it'll be straight, everything we do is straight line depreciation.
it is. Yep.
So I just thought that
But
we should
the-
add this to fixed assets to say, and this is going to be helpful for Josh, to say he doesn't have to keep track of every single thing that
Well,
you
it's
just,
helpful for me too.
right.
So,
So-
the $5,000 number though,
So
does MTA have any guidance on that?
Yeah, so the GASB 34 says a township can set it between 1 and 10.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
5
and
is-
I think
okay.
before ours was 1.
I think at the city ours was 5.
Okay, that's fine. I just didn't know what
Get with the times.
the parameters are.
Well, yeah, 1,000 is just too low. It's just, you're keeping track of almost so many things.
Well, we can still keep track of it. It's just not the depreciation of it. It's like somebody's waste of time to, be setting a depreciation schedule for something that's,
So who actually is taking care of this? Is this the clerk's office?
It
Your
is.
deputy? So,
the clerk has a fixed asset schedule, yes, and then the supervisor is in charge of depreciation.
actually like Denise with her computer, so that computer
been
dies, it
logged
goes
as an
off.
asset,
So
yeah.
then her new one would be, but her old one would then come off of that list?
But with this policy, your new one is an office supply,
Because it wouldn't be over $5,000.
right? It's either going to be under,
It's still on a list. It's just not being depreciated.
right. Yeah, it can be on the list.
Yeah.
Well, you've got to keep a list of all that
Right.
stuff anyway.
Yes.
But we won't put it in the BSNA general fixed asset thing. It'll be a separate, I don't know if y'all saw the Excel sheet that Ron had kept and that I updated, whatever. That's how they used to keep track of things because we didn't have a fixed asset program. So probably we'll maintain that. But then in the BSNA, we'll only put in the stuff to be depreciated. We'll talk about that.
Just to be clear, what's the purpose of depreciating it? I mean, what's,
Just required under
auditing.
GASB,
okay?
Yeah.
governmental accounting.
So it's not depreciating it in the private sector sense, like you're getting,
It's only reflected in our audit. So you keep track.
so
of
you just assign a useful life to it and then take off.
Yep.
There's
tenth of it
standards.
or whatever.
So can I clarify something too? Because you said one thing and Wendy said another thing. So you're saying, for example, a PC, which runs about $1,200, that is going to be an office equipment expense. It is no longer going to be put into an asset, but you're saying it's still listed as an asset. So we can list it as two places. We can write it off as an expense, but still list it as an asset and just not
Well, no,
depreciate it?
it's an expense either way.
Right, but it's,
And then,
It's not a capital asset that we're depreciating.
yeah, we're not going to depreciate it, but we're going to keep track of all of the computers, who they
Okay,
were,
so I just wanna-
who
yeah.
they were issued to, what they cost, that kind of thing.
you can do it in two places.
Yeah, that's going to be like a subsidiary ledger.
Okay.
That has to be kept
Right.
anyway.
And that's up to the clerk, what she wants to keep track of for things that are under 5,000, you know,
Yeah.
and that's,
Be a whole summer.
okay, so then 4.8, this is where 4.8A, purchase orders. Purchase orders exceeding 1,500, it used to be 1,000, require the clerk and the supervisor's approval unless previously authorized by the township board action. And it gives an exception for emergency purchases. 4.8B, written quotes and sealed bids. So purchase orders exceeding $7,500 require written quotes of, I believe, 3 written quotes if possible. And this is going to 7,500 from 5,000.
Again, with
And it also requires board approval. So anything over $7,500 requires board approval. It used to be 5,000.
And did you look at neighboring townships? Didn't I remember you saying that you were looking around to see what other people's were?
I was going to.
Oh, I think I
did.
did actually, and they were
Okay.
very similar.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So does that that does not include professional services though?
Correct. That's,
I mean, it says that under 2, but it didn't say it under,
that applies to all. Professional services are exempt from the purchase order process.
And
Except
previously
as directed by the
authorized.
board, because we are, for the CPA firm,
That's a contract, really.
yeah, we're issuing purchase orders with a CPA firm.
well, I'm thinking of the planning consultant we have, and we've done purchase orders to start with on some of their work, just because it's new and we're wanting
Right.
to break things up into chunks so we
That's
can,
what we're doing with
so
the
we can,
CPA.
okay.
This
So,
is saying that-
that does not require a sealed bids, and that doesn't require a purchase order?
It doesn't require a purchase order, but you opted to do it that way, just like we opted to do it that way with the CPA to control the
Yes.
approval, to control.
And the scope of work and the budget and all that stuff, so then how many signatures does that require?
I don't know.
Two, depends on what the amount.
You're
That's
not
what
going
we're
to hire
saying.
it without the planning commission voting for it. So you're doing a planning commission approval for professional services, just like we would as a board. So it'd be the clerk signs or the supervisor signs the contract. So that brings up a good question, though. So when the planning commission, I realize you give us a budget, we approve your budget. When you hire professional services, do those come back to this board to approve?
The supervisor signed it.
We did not, we did a contract with Gordy Fraser. We did not do a contract with Giffords Webster on the original work scope to assess the zoning ordinance and then the first bundle of,
It's just a question I have. Should the board be approving your professional service agreements? Even though the plan commission approves it, shouldn't we be approving those? I mean, we'll have to research that. I'd like to know.
that's, yeah, I agree.
You know, how much?
It says purchase orders exceeding 1,500 require clerk and supervisor approval unless previously authorized by board action. I would think,
Can we come back to that after we
Yeah. There's a
research? that?
There is a part in here, though, that talks about accept professional services.
Yeah, I saw that under,
It's on the first page of 4, the very first sentence of page 4.
is it because you're going to go after like
Oh, right here, it says
a
purchases.
bid?
purchases require a purchase order unless exempted by this policy. So there is somewhere in this policy that said, you know, I remember.
I remember seeing it as well.
But we can go back to that and look. But it's just my question about, even though we approve your budget and then authorize this much money in your professional services line item, when you enter into a contract with Gordy Frazier,
And we did that on theirs, but because they were more bracketed services, private road ordinance, come to a bunch of meetings, will help us work through that, develop a draft. There's a start and finish. It's hard to know sometimes all the steps in between, but anyway, okay, we'll come back to that.
okay, and then in 4.8B2, the sealed bid process was 20. It's a lot more involved. You have to have a public bid opening, that whole thing. And I just am changing that to 30,000. We have very few of them anyway that are 20,000 and more, but I just think that when you expect that the cost is going to exceed 30,000, you should go through a sealed bid process. And again, not for professional services. This is for,
So that's why C2AE, you could just do their design work on the boat wash as part of that. But is there a contract signed with them?
Yes.
yeah. That's right. That's intended. This is intended. The 30,000 sealed bid process and intended for projects.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm just trying, well, we should just be consistent with how we're dealing with all of our consultants.
Yeah.
That's all.
I think it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't do sealed bids for like attorneys.
No, I know. No,
like
no.
attorney services.
No, of course not.
I guess I wouldn't call them bids, but you solicited attorney services in a public way.
So you did a RFP.
It just wasn't sealed bid. Okay, the other thing on this, I did add, you'll see right at the very bottom of that page, of every page, Linda wanted added in there that this is Policies and Procedures Manual, Section 4.0, and in parentheses, I put amended to 2626. I also included page numbers, so there will be page numbers for each section, like when we get them all done. And that's to prevent from, say that we want to talk about something or somebody has a question and you print a page and you give it to them. It didn't reference where it even came from before, so
Yeah,
this will help
I like
clean
that.
that up. And then on the next page, 4.8C, when I did my side-by-side, I didn't take the time to see if this could be condensed, Wendy, but when I did my side-by-side, I did notice that 4.8C was just missing. And it is long, but I think it's important that it be in there because it talks about conflict of interest. It's a federal policy, a procurement policy for governments, where it just establishes what board members, responsibilities are. Like if, I'm trying to award a contract to my brother, kind of a thing. So I didn't go through it to find, excuse me, I see some spelling or
Well, I think
it
it
didn't convert very well. But
it applies when you have federal funds, and so I don't know if every township had federal funds. That's probably why they don't include it.
It could be.
But since we do, it does apply to us.
yeah, and I think this is just a good practice anyway. So, so you're saying it applies to federal funds. So do you think it doesn't apply to anything else?
I'm the same thing. I guess I'm wondering why this is I understand the federal procurement stuff. I worked with them before, but I guess
Should it be?
under the gifts, for example, more so than the, somebody, you go to lunch with somebody and they want to buy your lunch. I say no, but,
Well,
I think our stuff should be clear.
well,
That it's not just under the federal umbrella here, that's the,
I think it should apply to all. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's where it came from, and communities adopt it.
Well, we already have this in our conflict of interest policy that we can't accept gifts more than $20. And if you do, you have to tell the clerk.
so it's under what?
A different
Oh, okay.
section.
In the same policy?
No.
Okay, it's in a different part. Yeah. So I don't know if this applies or not.
Well, if it's redundant with another policy, then I guess we want to be sure it's in
So
it.
this was probably in there because the this township apparently must have received federal grants for something. And right
ARPA
now-
funds are federal grants.
Right.
Well, and right now we're
And
getting a
FEMA.
federal grant for the fire department, right? So it's just it's a.
Yeah, I'm
procurement
okay with
policy.
keeping it in there. I don't, yeah. Doesn't say anything that shouldn't be in there, you know?
But is there a conflict with the other section you identified?
No, it says the same thing.
Oh, okay.
I think the amount should be $25. That's what I was used to at the city, but that's probably been 20. You can't even buy somebody lunch for $20.
No,
Well,
take them to McDonald's.
but if we change it, if we
Get a
change
Happy
it
Meal
here,
there.
we would
Give them
have to
that.
remember to change it at the other location, but I would
I
like
think
to see
the
that
other
go up.
location says 20, yeah.
So if we change it to 25, you guys would be fine with that?
Yep.
Okay, it's just another thing that just wasn't updated in a long time. It's not anybody's fault. It's just what happens. Okay, I got to fix my indent there. The next, we're almost done. 4.11, I just highlighted treasurer shall execute payment through the banking system. I don't think this is what we do.
It is not, and I am
Okay.
wholly available to pass that on, and
But is it possible?
it is. So,
Okay.
honestly, I was already talking to your deputy about this on Tuesday when you were gone, so I apologize that I talked to him first, but I asked him if it was possible, and he was like, what exactly do you mean, you know? So I explained to him what we were already doing. When I do the checks, and then the checks are written, so for instance, on the bills for approval, the top ones are all electronic, and then the bottom ones are paper, and then I give you a report that says for both of them, and I'm going back and going on Consumers Energy, for instance, on their website and paying it electronically, and then putting that receipt into the BSNA and scanning it. And I told him, well, why can't I just give you all this? You have the checks, then you guys go in and pay the electronically. And he was like,
You give them
Yeah,
the sites and the passwords.
because it's
and-
honestly taking up my time and I'm ready to offload. So,
Well, it's not your responsibility.
No.
It's the treasurer's, and we're not doing it that way, maybe because that's how it was done.
it was, yeah.
I think
yeah.
this is very
I mean,
important to
and-
separate some of these.
And some of
duties.
these, though, that my only concern was that these were made electronic because they weren't getting paid in a timely manner, like stuff was changing, you know. It's just how it works with Consumers Energy. They're like sending you a bill, and then by the time we're paying it, you know, they're like ships in the night in the mail. And so that's just my only concern, that it would
What
be
about
done right
Visa
away.
bills getting paid timely?
Yeah, I wanted to get the credit card bills on there. And then,
So I don't know that they're available online. I've tried to do that, and it's sketchy looking. I don't know if I had the right.
Yeah, you told me that the
Yeah.
prior clerk, treasurer used to run a check down the day it was due to Alden Bank.
Correct. They paid it in person at the bank. That's how they would pay them. So that might be possible.
curious, what do the ACH payments have to be made through the company's website? Why can't we set up, doesn't Alden have bill pay online that we can set it up through?
I guess that would be up to you.
I would totally do it that way, because the one thing I don't like about paying it, for one, it's a headache having to go to all these different vendors' websites. That
is.
is a pain. And two, it doesn't track immediately in real time on your bank statement, you know, on your online bank statement. If you set up all those ACH payments on the bank, you just go to one site, pay all your bills online. It's immediately tracked and reconcilable right then and there. So I don't know. I would probably set it up different. If I took over doing it, I would do it different.
So a question I have, and I agree doing it different is probably going to be better, but with me, I don't go to the individual utility website. I do my utilities, our auto pay. I get the bill.
Right.
I can always call the company if I don't think the bill is right, or if they, misread the meter, whatever it might be. There's always an appeal process when you pay.
So our problems with auto pays, though, is that they change. So that's,
Well, not auto, no, I'm talking about.
I mean, for the
automatically pays on-
utilities.
Automatically pays on the due date for
Yeah,
utilities.
yeah.
And then I even set up, like for paying township taxes here, I go through the bank and I have the check like you're talking about.
Right.
the online banking check.
Yeah, the online banking, so I'm sure Alden has it. But then too, there's some things that aren't utilities that my credit cards, I auto pay, and I don't know why we can't auto pay our credit cards. Yes, you do need to go through, the clerk needs to go through the bill and make sure you have receipts and where does everything go. You can't skip that part. And The problem is if you auto pay, but if you auto pay by the due date, so that you don't have penalty and interest, by the time you've got a month, which you should do anyway by then, right? But you don't have to worry about going to a board meeting for approval before a late payment.
Yeah, so I think that Jill and I can get better together with this, and then we'll still execute the payment through the banking system. I'm fine with that. So
Yeah.
I think that we just need to clarify our
does it
system
say
and
that?
make it efficient.
Yeah, and so I want to clarify one other thing too. Right now, as it is, the treasurer has no list of vendors for ACH. I'm not the one that sets up the ACH. I have no problem with Wendy having that
But that's
ability
part-
to do that.
But that's part of what we're talking about for you to do, though.
Okay, so what I'm saying is I need the list of the people from you because
sure.
I don't know who all you have.
Yeah,
if
she's
that
gonna-
is
It's in
all
BSNA,
inclusive
yeah.
She has to
for-
give you a list and all the passwords and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Or how you're going to do it, yeah.
yeah.
And then the last thing is Wendy provided the Appendix A Credit Card Transaction Act. We're not going to include the act for ACH that was in the prior policy. We reference ACH. We reference that, but we don't need to list that whole law thing. I don't even know if we have to include this, but there it is. And so when this is all said and done, Wendy will put this in this packet as well for this section.
Yet this doesn't repeal our previous resolutions for ACH and credit card.
Right. And I think, going through this whole section this way, we talked about a lot of different things and clarified some things. And I think we just need to keep focused on continuing to do this. I think it's helpful.
Yes, very. So, anybody want to make a motion as amended?
I did, and it was seconded by somebody.
I just think I seconded. Seconded.
Oh, true, yep. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried.
Well, we're coming back to this, right, for other amendments. I mean, I think I don't think we resolved the professional services issue.
No, there's a few things. They have to work on the ACH stuff.
That's what I'll be clear.
And then we just need to, the professional.
Maybe
serv-
clarify
It doesn't change our purchasing policy.
No,
at all.
it doesn't.
We just need clarification. What is the correct process about, what is the planning commission's authority as far as contracts go? So, and where, and that's just.
I think the board's the contracting agent.
Linda might even know the answer.
It is,
to that, so.
I mean, that's the board, that's the contracting agent, it's not the planning commission.
Right.
But then,
But as long as you're staying within your budget and,
right, but then there's a project management aspect of it that is at the planning commission level about what steps are taken and what work scopes are
right.
recommended and so forth, so. It's
So
kind of
just
a-
real
So are
quick,
we
just-
putting this on board comments?
Yep. So just real quick, a question. I know we're not supposed to have follow-up questions, but just so for clarity, when the main reason they hired the engineer was for these site plan reviews, escrows and all this stuff, pay for it.
So they could do the bids.
They are reimbursed and they get an estimate from the engineer on whatever it is. And then are they getting a purchase order from you for that specific site plan review?
Sometimes,
So that's what we need to clarify.
Yeah.
So
We have not, yes, there was one site plan review, there's been one so far. And I believe that's kind of.
they did have a purchase order.
Yeah. Because it's easier to track that way too, so we can assign the costs to that work scope.
that's all I had. So I don't know where we're at.
I think that us getting our policy and procedures all situated in our ordinances, we're like one step to being more efficient and then, not having as much of a workload in our learning process. So that's awesome. We're at board comments and discussion. So that what we've been doing. Does anybody have anything specific they wanted to talk about?
When we get to next month, we're going to have a few meetings on the budget review. So I did want to just make a comment about that. So yesterday I went through and I reviewed the department requests, the ones I had with Linda, and got things moved over into the recommended column. And I think right now, every time I look at it, I go, oh, this and oh, but I've been keeping it updated with financials that I run off the system for everything. The goal is to have everything that has been, all the activity through February 28. And here we are, the 26th. So are you going to do any more payments for the next 2 days? Any? Okay, so those will end up. So, okay. So you'll do those before the end of the month, right? And then I can run a new one. But I'll update the year-to-date and then make sure that the projected are right. Through the process, I found mainly only in the general fund and one thing in the fire fund, budget amendments that need to be approved by the board. So I made a memo for that. I don't know if I want to put that on the March 12 meeting. We might want to wait till the last meeting in March just in case it needs to be a little more than what I did. But anyway, I think the budget looks pretty good. It looks, other than spending the money on the roads, it's coming out that the general fund will be, again, a balanced budget for the township, with the
Nobody
exception of the road funds that were committed for road.
So nobody panic yet.
Right. So, but I'm going to print it out this weekend and have it available here at the Township Hall. I'm going to email it, blind copy to all board members for you to begin reviewing and formulating your questions. My hope is when we do get to the point of budget discussion, we went through it pretty quickly last year, but please take the time to either ask questions if you have to ask them, what's this, what's that, but list your questions out so as we go through the different departments and funds that we're not just sitting here like going line by line and anybody question this, anybody question that.
Right.
And that is not a good use of our time. So with that said, it will be in the packet for March 12th. And I think that separately, Wendy puts it on the website. The face of the website is proposed budget, right? And we're not going to actually discuss it on the 12th, I suppose, unless you wanted to. And then I think we have a meeting the next Monday to begin the discussion. And then a public hearing on the 19?
19, yeah.
So I have to have that on the desk because when she posts the public hearing a week in advance, it needs to be available at the Township Hall. And just a reminder that the public hearing notice has to state the purpose of this public hearing is the millage for the ambulance, fire,
There's a bunch of different qualifications for it.
Okay. So that was that. And the only other thing I'm done. That's a different issue.
Any other discussion items?
Yeah.
All right, announce that the next township board meeting is March 13. I don't know if that's right.
I just noticed,
Yeah.
Tim was saying the 12th, but it did say the 13th.
Yeah,
on
that's
I want it to be 13th.
That's a Friday. So March 12th, 2026 at 6:30 PM. And then we have a board member announcement about the postage dates, stamp dates,
It's a follow-up from what Jill provided,
Yeah.
Linda provided.
postmarked mail.
Yeah, so they're fighting it. It hasn't been determined, as the last I read.
Yeah, they're trying to stop her.
Yeah.
Which is helpful for rural people, you know? That's-
Well, they actually did it already. They're asking
Yes.
for it to be reversed.
Right. So just on a note too, our local post office is now closed on Saturdays. So that's another,
Oh, jeez.
I think they've been closed on Saturdays, haven't they?
well, probably. I think they had like maybe a little couple, just like Acme, a couple hours open. Now there's none. So there's no public comment.
Excuse me, could I just ask Tim, you mentioned after the 12th meeting, there's something on the Monday after, being the 16th?
I think it's the 19th.
that right?
No, I think it's the 19th, actually. It's a Thursday. That's the first public hearing of the budget.
That's what I have too.
Okay.
Okay.
12, 7, 19th is the public hearing.
Yep. And then we have a possible
And then we have like a special
Tuesday
meeting.
and then
I don't know,
Thursday.
Tuesday or something, yeah. Anyway, that's all on the township calendar.
They'll be posted. So no public comment in the hall. We have a motion for adjournment.
So move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
It is
Adjourned
10:44.
10:44.
Yeah.